This is not a topic that I have found easy to discuss. It certainly elicits emotional reaction and response from the people that I've spoken to or have emailed, from the shores of Western Europe to the continent of Australia to our neighboring towns here in Connecticut. I would say this, that the Public Health Committee as a whole tried to view the issue in a way that would get bipartisan support, which we did in committee, and I do anticipate and hope we will get tonight. The articles were pretty clear. The Hartford Courant was the one that began most of the stories. The religious exemption from childhood vaccinations by which someone could attend school has gone from a couple of hundred people in 2006 to over 1,200 today, or 1,100 today. So under current law, there are two reasons why you don't have to get vaccinated to send your kids to school or to a daycare, and that is medical or religious. The number of medical exemptions is under 300. The number of religious has gone over 1,200. There are two states in our great country that only allow medical. So in the state of West Virginia and in the state of Mississippi, you cannot claim a religious exemption. Now, your kids could not get vaccinated, but they could not attend school or daycare. So, in Connecticut, there was an option. It is constitutional to not have a religious exemption. It's been litigated, it's been tried. States can get rid of it. But 48 states maintain a religious exemption. And this bill does not get rid of the religious exemption, despite some thinking that might have been a route worth taking. So what does the bill do? As you study how you claim a religious exemption from vaccinations in our state, you find that the current form can be downloaded and printed, signed and dated, handed in when your kid first enrolls in school, and that's it. One time, signed and dated. Maybe a telephone number and address if you want. For such a serious decision, when you're talking about polio, when you talk about measles, things that, for goodness sake, we are all grateful, have pretty much been eradicated, the evils they have caused to people from this world and from this planet and certainly from this area and from this state. We are thankful that they are gone and they're not plaguing our children today or adults who got these awful diseases as children. Yet that form is so informal that I don't believe it adequately lives up to what we're actually having someone claim. So what this bill does is it increases the frequency with which one must submit this form to annually to a school every year, and it also requires that an acknowledgement be taken. What is an acknowledgement? 1-34 of the general statute will tell you exactly what it says. Before me on this day, today is May 8th? 7th, sorry. On this 7th day of May, appeared before me this person. They've satisfactorily proven to me they are who they are, and then you sign off. And the bill talks about who can do these acknowledgments. It could be a judge, a clerk. It could be a notary public, a justice of the peace, an attorney admitted to practice law in the state. So it's a pretty broad population. And now that is the form you have to use going forward if this bill passes on an annual basis to claim a religious exemption. It is not a penalty under false statement. It is an acknowledgement. I believe it formalizes the process and it makes it more frequent, which is an important step. Some have said, but we're 98.5%. Would you just stop public health? Just stop. 98.5%. There's no need for this. I disagree. We've seen the rise and we've seen the increase, which I am not so sure that that increase is due to sincerely held religious beliefs. But more importantly, if the only time we act up here is when there's a crisis, if the only time we pass legislation is when it's down to 88%, then we're not doing our jobs. If you can see a pattern coming, it's best that we try to do something about that. So when people say 98.5%, we're okay, I say, okay, I hear you. And if we stay at 98.5% for 10 years, you may never see a bill again. However, you look at the numbers growing and you say to yourself, is the form that we require now really adequate and serious enough for something this serious? And when you talk about people talking about public health, let me also be clear. You can cause harm to other people. There are 300 people in the state who are children who cannot get vaccinations for medical issues, allergic reactions. They may have leukemia. They could get sick by someone who is not vaccinated. Those are the people who are also emailing saying, I'm not so sure the process is as formal as it needs to be. And in the state of California and in the state of New York, right next door, they had a measles outbreak in the last 12 months. So it is not something that we can just say, why? It's happening. So to the chamber, I think the Public Health Committee worked very, very hard on this issue to try to find and strike a correct balance. And I would hope the chamber would support it, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.